We're just days away from UFC Fight Night. Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. I just realized that this green sweater looks pretty terrible with the green background, but we ball. I'm not changing it. I'm going to continue regardless. So I'm going to give you my full fight breakdown here, starting with the first fight of the night, going all the way up to the main card. What an incredible fight night we have here, guys. You guys really made me change my mind here on my post I made earlier, gouging my eyes out over this one. No, it really made me change my mind, some of your comments. I think this is an incredible card now. This is one of the best ones I've ever seen. If I've got to say it myself, this is one of the best cards on paper, to be honest with you. So let's start off the card right away with Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Rocha. Clayton Carpenter is a guy I actually didn't remember for a second. I had to go and refresh myself here. He hasn't fought since February of 2023. Got his first win in the UFC, round one submission over a nobody that doesn't exist anymore. And Rocha coming off of a win over Dana White Contender Series last October over Davey Bittencourse. Round two knee knocked him out. Bittencourse has won his last three since then, so it's a pretty good win. Like, it's aging kind of well. He's winning on the regional scene, so that win doesn't look terrible. And Rocha, I think I'm going to go with the underdog here. Rocha, I mean, Clayton Carpenter hasn't fought in a while. He's only 7-0. He's quite inexperienced compared to Rocha. Like, he has 7-0 professional, and Rocha's 17-1, and like he's a little bit more active. Like, I get they both haven't fought in a while, but Rocha fought last October and Carpenter fought last February. So there's a bit more inactivity for Carpenter, and he's still unproven, and Rocha has a bit better looking of a regional career. I think I'm going to go with Rocha. I think it's going to be a good underdog here. It's going to go to a decision most likely. I'm taking Rocha by decision because I think these boys are going to be scrapping. Might be some grappling involved, mixing up of the skills, but I think Rocha will come with this on top. Going Rocha by decision will be the official pick. So the next fight up the card, we got Dan Arguetta versus Cody Haddon. Dan Arguetta is 9-2. He lost his last fight by guillotine, but he really should have lost the fight before that as well. He lost to Miles Johns the fight before, but it got overturned to a no contest because Miles John popped for a banned substance, I believe. He should have won his bout before that one, though, against Ronnie Lawrence, because Ronnie Lawrence kind of fake tapped a bit, and they ended up giving it a no contest because they said it was an early stoppage or some shit. They said he didn't really tap or something. I don't know. There was some weird shit going on there. But I think he's going to get destroyed in this fight. Cody Haddon's crisp on the feet. He's good on the ground. And Dan Arguetta has been submitted before. He got submitted in his last fight. And Cody Haddon is a good he's a good mixed martial artist, He in his Dana White Contender Series fight, at least, he was mixing it up really good on the feet, and then he dived immediately down when he hurt Billy Brand, got that really fast submission win. I think I'm going to go with Cody Haddon by a submission. I think I'm going to go with a submission here. I think he'll be able to... Dan Arguetta is a physical wrestler, but I think his BJJ and grappling skills are a little lacking, and I think that Cody Haddon will be able to lace up a triangle choke if he gets taken down from the bottom or something. I'm going to go with a Haddon submission win in the second round will be the official pick. Next fight up the card, we got the big boys, Chris Barnett versus Junior Tafa. What an amazing fight here. Now, Chris Barnett hasn't fought in a while, since 2022. He pounded out Jake Collier there, but he lost to Martin Buday the fight before that. But Buday's not a terrible heavyweight. He's one of the kind of stepping stone heavyweights to get to the next step in the division. You have to go through a Martin Buday type. Martin Buday beats all the lower class fat heavyweights. Martin Buday would have his way with Junior Tafa as well. I just want to make that known. Junior Tafa, he's not UFC material. This guy... He's only in the UFC for name value because he has an older brother who's getting knockouts. Junior Tafa hasn't shown that. He's shown he's a quitter. He is a quitter. Muhammad Usman was able to smudge this guy out on the canvas, which, I mean, Muhammad Usman, that's what he does. But Chris Barnett has a reach advantage, a size advantage. skill advantage, way more fights than Junior Tafa, and the only reason to pick against Chris Barnett is because of the time off and the age and all that, but I don't think Junior Tafa is this like fucking physical in his prime guy that's going to be able to take advantage of that. I think Junior Tafa is going to fold the same way he folded against Rogerio de Lima, same way he folded against Walter Walker. I think he's going to fold, and I think Chris Barnett could get a late TKO victory here. And yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. These big boys ain't going to a decision. Come on. Chris Barnett's getting to this in the mat. They're going to be rolling around like two big marshmallows. He's getting that round 2 ground and pound TKO. It's going to be beautiful. Just an incredible balls of meat rolling around on the ground. Cannot wait for this one. Next fight up the card. So Chris Barnett by round 2 TKO will be the pick. Next fight up the card. Themba Gormibo versus Niko Price. Themba Gormibo coming off a decision win in his last fight where it was pretty boring. He used a lot of his grappling. But then in the post-fight speech, he did say that one of the people in his camp, I think, passed away. Can't remember who passed away, but he said someone passed away and he was going through grief and all that, and he wanted to pull out of the fight almost, and he just went with it, and he got that win. I think we will see a knockout. Niko Price has been through a lot of wars. I expected him to get knocked out in his last fight by Alex Morono, and I guess Morono just doesn't have that oomph. But Gormibo did knock out... He did knock out Pete Rodriguez, who previously had only been knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena, and I think that looks pretty good. And Gormibo, I think he's going to get another KO victory here. He's got good striking. He just didn't want to show it off last fight, I believe. And Niko Price been through so many wars. I cannot trust that chin. I think last fight was an outlier against Alex Morono. And I'm going to go with Gormibo by a round 1 knockout victory here. Next fight up the card, we've got Jonathan Pearce versus Pat Sabatini. Jonathan Pearce lost his last 2. He lost to David Onama in his last fight, which doesn't look terrible. He lost to Joe Anderson Brito by submission the fight before that. He was controlling Joe Anderson Brito, which is Brito's kryptonite, obviously. And then Brito quickly changed the tide to a ninja choke and got that submission win. Pat Sabatini has a lot of submission wins. Jonathan Pearce been submitted 3 times, and I think that's going to be the kryptonite here. I think Pat Sabatini will have a grappling advantage. Think he's going to get a submission win over Jonathan Pearce. Going with that underdog money on Pat Sabatini. I just think he's going to be more physical, and Jonathan Pearce just ain't that good. I don't trust him. I think Pat Sabatini's a little bit more crisp. His last loss was Diego Lopez, which looks good, and I get it. You know, he got knocked out by Damon Jackson. That's not an incredible loss. You know, that doesn't look incredible. But, you know, he turned it around. He's only lost to Diego Lopez since... and I think that looks good. I think he's going to get a submission win here. We're going with a Pat Sabatini round 1 or round 2 submission win will be the official pick. Next fight up the card. We've got CJ Vergara versus Ramazanbek Tamirov. How did I say that name better than Juliana Pena? Vergara... He's just not that good, guys. He lost to Asu Almabayev in his last fight by decision, which, you know, you might be looking at that, but like, oh, he survived to a decision against Almabayev, but Almabayev just doesn't finish people. That's what we know about him. Tamirov looks like an absolute beast from what I've seen about him. He's got like some knockouts, a lot of knockouts, elbow highlight reel knockout. Like, he's got some incredible stuff to him. He looks like a fucking savage. And CJ Vergara, I think, is going to be out of his comfort zone here. I think he's got a questionable chin too, even though he's never lost by a knockout. That Daniel Lacerda fight, Daniel Lacerda is not good. And after that first round where Daniel Lacerda looked terrible against Sparked, he had a pretty good second round against CJ Vergara. So, like, Vergara's got a questionable chin. I understand he's never been knocked out before, but he got knocked the fuck down against Daniel Lacerda in that first round, which he ended up winning that fight. But to look that bad against Daniel Lacerda, against fucking hit with a spinning wheel kick and then knocked down against the fence, man, that looks bad. You can't say it doesn't. And Tamirov looks like a fucking warrior. He's Uzbekistan. That's all I gotta say. Round 1 knockout for Tamirov will be the official pick. Next fight up the card, we've got Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. Chidi's coming off of a win over Reese McKee by a split decision, but he lost his 3 fights before that. Jared Gooden coming off a round 2 submission win over Wellington Turman. I think I'm going to go with Jared Gooden here at the underdog price. I can't trust Chidi anymore. He's 35 years old, and every time I trust him, he just fails me. I got to go with Jared Gooden here. I think it's going to be a decision win. That's what I'm going to go with. It is worrying, though. Jared Gooden lands 5 strikes a minute. Chidi only lands 4 strikes a minute. But in terms of absorbing, Jared Gooden absorbs like 6.5 strikes a minute on average. But Jared Gooden has landed 3 of 3 takedowns that he shot in the UFC. He's completely fine with smudging it up. And 100% takedown accuracy, that sounds pretty good. I'm not going to hold too much stock in this one. I think Jared Gooden probably takes this one home. I won't be upset if Chidi wins, but I just can't trust the guy anymore. He's 35, and like the first sign of adversity in that Mikhail Oleg-Jacek fight, he just folds and loses, and I think Jared Gooden can put it on him. He's got a couple knockouts of his own, and I think if this gets to the canvas, I think Jared Gooden will have the advantage there. I'm going Jared Gooden by decision will be the pick. So on to the main card, we've got Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Josh Fremd to open up the main card here. Alhassan coming off a no contest because he very stupidly threw away a round 1 knockout win over Cody fucking Brundage. Get Cody Brundage back in there. But anyways, Abdul Razak Alhassan knocked Cody Brundage down, fucking starts pouncing on him with back of the head elbows. Threw away a round 1 knockout win, handed to him on a silver platter. Instead gets changed to a no contest. Of course, he lost the fight before that to Joe Pyfer. We got a one-trick pony here. All of his wins are by knockout, but Josh Fremd has been knocked out a couple times. Maybe there's a world where Josh Fremd gets this to the canvas, but come on. He's going to get knocked out here, guys. Abdul Razak Alhassan, I'm not saying he's like a legend on the feet or something. He's pretty mediocre. He's a one-trick pony. He's been submitted before. He's been out-grappled before. Maybe Josh Fremd can do that, but I see him getting finished, knocked out in the first round. I think that's going to be the pick here. Abdul Razak Alhassan by a round 1 knockout. So next fight of the card, we got Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono, a real barn burner fight right here. Cannot wait for this one. Daniel Rodriguez coming off of 3 losses in a row. He lost to Kelvin Gastelum. Unanimous decision in his last fight, but Kelvin Gastelum missed weight. That was a big thing, that fight. So he got outstruck on the feet and taken down at will pretty much. Morono coming off a loss to Niko Price, which was an underdog loss. Niko Price won that fight by decision. And everyone thought that was going to be a barn burner fight, like firefight type thing, but Niko Price smudged it up, took home that decision win. And I see Daniel Rodriguez probably winning this one. The thing is, Alex Morono, his last 5 fights, he's been a 50-50 fighter. Or last 6 fights, sorry. He's like lost 1, won 1, lost 1, lost 1. Lost 1, won 1, lost 1, won 1, lost 1, won 1. You know, it's been back and forth, and he lost his last one. So if we're following that pattern, guys, that means he's winning. Of course I'm not fucking picking like that. No, Daniel Rodriguez should be able to outbox Alex Morono. Who knows? This isn't a high-level fight. They're 2 old heads that have lost a couple fights. I think Daniel Rodriguez needs this one more. I do think he needs this one more to stay in the company, to keep his name relevant. I really don't know, though. Daniel Rodriguez has a height advantage and a reach advantage. I see him taking home a decision win will be the official pick. We've got Cory Mckenna versus Julia Polastri. Julia Polastri lost her last fight to Josephine Knutson. And Cory Mckenna lost her last fight to Jacqueline Amorim by a round 1 submission. Armbar. Cory Mckenna, she also lost a split decision to Elise Reed, which is pretty bad. I flirted with the idea of picking Cory Mckenna here, guys. I wanted to. I did. But I just don't think she's that good on farther second looking into of this. I think Julia will have the advantage on the feet and on the ground. She didn't look terrible in her last fight. I think I'm going to go with Julia Polastri by a submission win over Cory Mckenna. She's one of these grappling girls. She likes to get on the ground and roll around, and Cory Mckenna also likes doing that. She's on UFC Fight Pass all the time, and I don't know. I don't know who's going to want this fight more. The girl is coming off. They're both coming off losses, but Cory McKenna's 25, starting her career, has this Fight Pass job where she's like introducing fighters and all that. I don't think she really wants it that much. I think she can continue doing that. Polastri, on the other hand, her last fight was in June, and she hadn't fought before that since September of 2023. And now she's already back in October of 2024. That tells me she wants to stay active and she needs a win. She needs the money. I think Polastri is going to want it more, and she's going to get a submission win here. That'll be the official pick, a round 1 or a round 2 submission win for Polastri. Maybe a decision. Could see this going to a decision. Polastri's not like a crazy finisher or anything. So yeah, how would I go with that actually? I'll go with Julia Polastri by decision will be the official pick. I just don't see Cory Mckenna being that incredible. Maybe she wins the first round, comes out hot. But I just don't see her taking this home. I think Polastri's too good. She's lost a high-level competition. You lost to Elise Reed. That's all I got to say. Julia Polastri by decision will be the official pick. Next fight up the card, Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. So, Grant Dawson obviously lost his last fight. Bobby Green knocked him out. First fucking jab he threw. Terrible night for the kid. Rafa Garcia, he's been winning. He beat Clay Guida. He beat Mashate, but he lost to Jakar Close by decision. Listen, this is obviously going to a decision. These are both decision merchants. You know, this is not going to be an entertaining fight by any means. I'm telling you, this is a turn the TV off for 15 minutes, and you know whose hand's getting raised. It's going to be a Grant Dawson decision win will be the official pick. On to the co-main event. We've got Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park. Now, Brad Tavares is one of these guys that everyone's always flaunting his takedown defense, all this, even though he's losing. He's always getting talked about good, you know. He's like, oh, you can't take him down, though. Oh, Brad Tavares, he'll be a tough out. But his last fight, he didn't look too good. Gregory Rodriguez beat him by a round 3 TKO, was able to take him down twice, brought that takedown defense rating down a little bit. Jung Young Park, he did lose his last fight, but it was a split decision to Andre Muniz. A lot of people thought Jung Young Park should have won that fight. He won his last 3 before that dominantly by submission. I don't think he's going to submit Brad Tavares because he's never been submitted. I think that would be a bold choice. I think Jung Young Park will get a TKO no. I think he could get a TKO, but I'm not going to go on that. I'm gonna say this goes to a decision win here. If he gets it down in one of the 2 rounds, then that could be the round banked right there, and then another takedown. That could be another round banked. I think Jung Young Park will take this fight to the ground, though. And I think even on the feet, Brad Tavares hasn't looked incredible as of recently. And Jung Young Park will need to get back in the win column after his last fight, where he thought he won the fight too. Like, a lot of the fans thought he won the fight. A lot of people thought Jung Young Park should have won that fight against Andre Muniz. So I think Jung Young Park's going to want to get back in the win column dominantly. He might get this TKO, but I'm going to say it goes to a decision where Jung Young Park possibly wins a 30-27, but 29-28. That'll be the official pick. Park by decision. On to the main event. Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. So the main event, Tatsuro Taira, Brandon Royval. Guys, I'm going to have to go with the laboratory test tube built Tatsuro Taira. This guy is just built different. Because when you're built in a laboratory, you can be built with no flaws. This guy is 16-0. He throws more strikes per minute than Brandon Royval. He absorbs less strikes per minute than Brandon Royval. He's more accurate with his strikes than Brandon Royval. He shoots more takedowns than Brandon Royval. He has better takedown accuracy than Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval has terrible takedown defense. He's lost by submission a few times. Taira's a beast on the ground. How is Royval going to win this, guys? I don't see any way how Royval wins. I understand you like him. He's a dog. He won against Brandon Moreno, but Brandon Moreno looked pretty uncharacteristically bad that last fight. And I can't be the only one who thinks that. He looked pretty bad that last fight against Brandon Royval and was still able to take him down 3 times in that fight. So I think Tatsuro Taira will take this fight to the mat where he will have his way because Royval isn't that good on the mat and Taira was built in a fucking laboratory. They gave him a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You get grappling, you get striking, you get submissions, you get whatever you want, buddy. You're gonna get skyrocketed to the back. I'm telling you, he's not losing this fight, guys. Tatsuro Taira was built for this. He's literally built for this. Royval is not, he's weak on the ground. He's the only 125er I know that looks like he's out of shape. He has a beer gut. Taira's been doing better recently in his career too. I understand though, on the feet, Royval might be doing better than Taira. That might be the only place where Royval can do better than him. Royval does swing like crazy. He does keep up in the numbers at least. So if this goes a hard few rounds, which I don't suspect it does, but if it does, then Royval will keep up in the numbers. You know, there might be a few people that end up saying, oh, Royval took the first few, but Taira, oh, good finishing instincts. He needed that one. I don't think it's going to go like that. I think Taira gets a round 1 or round 2 submission win on the ground. But if it goes late, I think Taira will be able to bite down on that mouthpiece, and he'll still be able to get the fight where he wants and take him out. I don't see Brandon Royval going a hard 5 rounds and going to a decision where he beats him on striking and all that. I don't see that happening. I think Taira's too physically imposing. He's a strong guy. Great grappling. He showed that his last fight. He's able to get dirty too. That move he did against Alex Perez destroyed that guy's knee. He's able to go to the dirty, like he's able to pull out those cards out of his fucking sleeve. Taira will take this one home. I'm telling you, the test tube and beaker. Test tubes and beakers. That's all you need to hear. That wins the main event. The dude built in a laboratory beats the American-made he looks out of shape at 125 pounds. So tell me how that happens. We're going to go with Tatsuro Taira to out-grapple. Brandon Royval will be the pick. I'm going Tatsuro Taira by submission in the first or second round. Let me know what you guys thought of my picks. That will be all of them. Again, I'm pretty confident in Tatsuro Taira. He's only a minus 200. I think I'm going to slam my entire bank account on that. We'll see how that goes. Let me know what you guys thought of my picks. Like this video, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We'll be back here for more soon. Thank you for watching the video.